How's it going, guys? Was 255 here for Blood Rose Allegiance. So the items needed for this quest are Saradome and Bruise, Super Restores, a Mage Range and Melee Switch, a Poison Weapon, Stamina Potion, a Combat Potion, and a Teleport to the Theatre of Blood. So I'm actually going to divide this into two parts. So the first part is the Theatre of Blood fight itself. So these are the items needed for that. If you're not interested in that, I will leave a timestamp for the second half of the quest. So when ready, you want to be teleporting to the Theatre of Blood. So in my case, I'm using the Draken's Medallion. There is a few ways that you can get here. So you can go in through this way, all the way up past Sleep. And you can take the Ectophile all the way down through this pathway. And then all the way down here. You can also go the Morton or Barrows runs. That is a little bit harder, but at this point I'd expect you to know how to get to the Theatre of Blood. So when ready, you just want to walk back over here, and you want to talk to this mysterious stranger right here. And that will start your quest. So when ready, just talk to him. So I'm just going to fast forward here to the actual Theatre of Blood fight. So I told you all the items that you needed. Just set up your inventory something similar to mine. I'm going in with Bandos and a Serpentine helmet. It's definitely recommended to have a Serp helm as well. And you want to set your quick prayers for the first room to your best range offensive. So for me it's Eagle Eye. You want to pray against Mage, and you want to use Preserve for your ranging potion. You can also bring Ancients for this. It's very useful for the Spider phase. So when ready, head in, activate your quick prayer, and so the first boss is the Maiden. She'll throw these black whirlwinds at you. Occasionally she will shoot blood at you, and you'll have to move a couple of tiles away. So I'll point that out when it pops up. And at about this part here, she will summon spiders. So you've got to kill them before they reach her, otherwise they will heal her. So just continue the fight with range. She also summons these little blood clot things. So that's the blood spit there. So just keep attacking her as normal, and she will summon these little blood clot things, as you can see here, and they'll leave a trail. So make sure you don't step in the blood path like I did there, and just keep continuing the fight as best as you can. So just keep your prayer up and focus the spiders whenever they appear, and it's pretty much just rinse and repeat for this fight. It's pretty easy. I do recommend doing this as a duo. It does scale with the more people that you have in it, but solos, unless you're good at PVM, it can be a little bit taxing at the very last part with Verzik, because there is a lot of things that you have to sort of tank. So kind of optional. If you're good at PVM, then you can do it by yourself, but I definitely recommend doing it as a duo. I am by no means good at the Theatre of Blood. I'm still learning the PVM and the boss fights. So please don't be too harsh on me. I'm not sure if it's mandatory, but they do drop books. I went back and I decided to read them. I'd recommend doing that just in case. So just pick them up, read to the very end, and then just throw it on the floor, basically. So the next boss that you have to fight is Bloat. So what he does is he'll spew flies at you if you're in his line of sight. So you want to pray range for that. And it does bounce to your teammates. You will notice that I do mess it up in the run. As I said, I'm not great at it. So it can affect other people. So the quick prayers that I use for this are Preserve and Piety, because you do use melee for this room. If you do have it as well, I recommend using the Entity Tracker, which is in Runelight. You can also have one person enter the room and the second person can wait until Bloat is on the ground. So if you look at Bloat's back, you'll notice that there's these yellow orbs. When they stop is when you can start attacking him. So you'll notice some sort of flashing on the back there. And he should drop down in a second. He does turn around as well, so be mindful of that one. So when you get in, dump your specs. You'll notice on him, on his back and on his front, that the lights are flickering. So you just want to run away when they start going a more solid sort of color like that. He'll then stamp the ground. Make sure you're not in his line of sight for that as well. You will take damage from that. And then you want to move away from these black circles. Unfortunately, my timing was bad, and I also attacked my teammate there with the flyers. And I also failed to move again. Once again, this is a really bad run through, but I do complete it at the end. So just keep on the other side of him, and just keep meleeing him. And it's pretty much just rinse and repeat. He does walk a bit faster at some points. And you just want to sip a stamina potion for that, because you want to be able to outrun him. It's pretty much just rinse and repeat right until the end. So just keep on the other side. And you'll notice he doubles back there as well. I'm a little bit slow with my clicks, so I'm doing a lot of damage to my teammate. And then you just want to double back and hit him again. So I'm just going to play music for the remainder of this fight. So once Bloat's defeated, you pick up the book once again, just read it, throw it on the floor, and pick up your brew if you've left it outside. I tend to do that, so I've got the extra healing. So in story mode, you get bandages. Bandages are very useful. So they basically count as a stamina potion, a combat potion, a restore, and it'll heal your health as well. So if you've got a Saradomin brew at about 2, I would actually trade that out for a bandage. A thing to note as well though is that if you drop a bandage, it won't appear on the floor as opposed to a Saradomin brew. And I also recommend using a bandage so that you've got the combat potion stats before your next fight. So just something to be mindful of. So with this next room, the spiders will be different corresponding colors. So melee is white, ranged is green, and magic is blue. This is where ancients is very, very helpful. Unfortunately, my teammate and I, we didn't bring it, as we don't have the major levels for it yet. Ice Burst still works as well, but we were both a little bit stingy. So if you're more geared for that, by all means do that. It's also recommended that you sort of coordinate with your teammate here. So our strategy going into this was he was going to mage, I was the ranger, and we would both just melee the white ones together if we saw that we were getting overrun. Obviously help your teammate where you can, so if you see that there's more mages and you're the designated ranger, you know, just help out where you can. If any of these pillars fall in the four corners, you will take damage, so just be aware of that one as well. From memory, the amount of damage you'll take is about 30, so just be ready to eat or use a bandage, or in this case a brew as well. So just be mindful of that one. The spiders do change colors as well, so be aware of that as well. So you could be hitting a melee one and it could change to a range one. Try to hit the corresponding one correctly. So this phase does go on for a little bit, so I'm just going to add music again. So when the last couple of spiders die, you will be greeted with the boss. So it works the exact same as what you've just done, except it starts off with melee. So to begin the fight, I recommend switching to a defense lowering weapon. So for me, it's the BGS. And you just want to pray against whatever form he switches to, and you want to hit him in whatever form he switched to. So in this case, it's magic. And if you hit him in the wrong attack style, he will actually heal up. So you do get a little bit of grace period there. As you can see, I sort of hit him with a mage before I switched to range. If you do hit him in the wrong attack style, yeah, he will actually heal back up. So just make sure you're getting your flicks correct. And just pray against whatever he changes to. So in this case, I should be praying range. I'm a little bit slow with the changeover. And yeah, see, I missed the whole phase there. Switch back over to mage, and then switch your prayer back over to mage when he's in blue. And then same thing for range when he's green. And then the same thing with melee when he turns to the white phase. So at the end of every fight, you will get your prayer and your HP back. That's why I kind of risked it with the tank at the end there. Something beneficial to keep in mind as well. So when ready, exit this room, pick up your brew. I'm gonna drop both of my books. And this next area is melee, and you want to get your spec weapon that lowers defense ready as well. I'm just kind of sorting out my inventory a bit here. That can also be beneficial with your switches as well. So that's a little bit nicer. And for this room, you want to pray against either range or mage. It's dependent on what he hits you with. I also use piety and preserve. So when you go in, I recommend using a combat potion or a bandage if you've used one. So that red orb is protect from mage. I accidentally miss it there. And then the second is protect from range, which is that black orb there. So those orbs do bounce between players. So for instance, if I was hit with the protect from mage, it can bounce off and go towards my teammate Thresh over there, and he'll have to pray range. So just be mindful of that. So you just want to dump your specs, continue the fight as normal, and then if you're chosen, a handy thing to keep in mind is you stand on this first dot for about 2 seconds so that your teammate can position themselves, and then you run on this red line. So just keep following this red line. It's really dependent if your teammate can keep up with you. Make sure you're coordinated and sort of talk to them. So in this case, my teammate was on par with me, so he kept up with me. And further into the fight as well, you'll see a giant red orb that floats towards you. You have two options here. You either stack with your whole team, or one person can tick eat it. A lot of people will tick eat it, but we just stand in front of the boss. So we'll just stand there and we'll usually tank it together. So as you can see, I wait on this tile here. My teammate stands on the first tile and waits for me. And I'm pretty sure I do mess up the run as I'm not paying attention. And make sure you're in front of that vortex that's behind you. If that vortex touches you, as it did with me, it will kill you. So my teammate is basically forced to clutch this next part. So coordination is key there. You do have to be quick with the vortex, but you definitely want to make sure that your teammate is able to keep up with you. So if you're like me and you supplied your friend with enough planks to get 99 construction, just enter the room and grab the book. Read the book, drop it on the floor as usual. A helpful thing to do here as well is, so you count your restores with your teammate or your Saradomin brews and make sure they're full potions. So in this case, my teammate, he had a 1 dose super restore here. And I just fused those together, threw the vial on the floor, and that gave me another spot to be able to put a bandage. So I went up here, got a bandage, and I used one before the next fight as well. You don't have to worry about the message that's in the chest either. You can just leave that in there, it's not important. So just grab another one out and head into the next room. So this next room is Zarpus. So what Zarpus does is he has 3 phases. The first phase that he has is the skeletons will appear on the ground. So like in the room with you. As you can see, my friend is going to stand on them, and that's all you have to do. So each one will give him more health. So in this case, my friend and I have coordinated that I'm on the eastern side, he's on the west. And we just sort of coordinate, whoever's closer to the skeleton will run for it. And that is just the first phase, so pretty easy. So just run back and forth wherever it's needed. You can also sort of cheese the next part. So what you do is you equip your defense lowering weapon and you can hit him with specs. But be mindful of this part. You don't want the acid spit that he does to land on the tiles that are next to him. So as you can see, I've marked the tiles on the floor and you don't want them to hit him. So for this next phase, he'll start shooting acid out. You want to hit him and then move 2 tiles. Try and coordinate with your teammate. Myself and my teammate here, we were just kind of all over the place. Was a little bit messy, but we do get there in the end. And so just continue hitting him as much as possible. I did misclick there. So you either go clockwise or anti-clockwise. You just want to attack him. When you see the acid move towards you, you just move the 2 spaces. And to start phase 3, he'll screech. So with the screech, that'll appear in your chat box, or it'll just be written above his head. Kind of like when you just talk. So there you can see it there. And from here, you want to sit on one of these tiles that's marked. And when he faces towards you, you don't want to be hitting him. So you can see I do about 2 hits and look away. So in this case, he's looking at me now, so I can't hit him. So just 2 hits, and then if you want to cancel your hit, just aim at, just click on the floor, on the exact tile that you're on. So just hit him, and then when he looks at you, click on the tile on the floor, and just rinse and repeat, basically. You can also hit him with a BGS and a Dragon Warhammer here, if you're lucky. So just continue the fight, and then when he's dead, you'll get another book. So this next part, as you can see there, my teammate has moved over towards a skeleton before this next door. When you search the skeleton, he'll give you an item called the Dawnbringer. So what the Dawnbringer does is it's a staff that has a special attack that'll hurt Verzik the most in the first phase. So what you have to do with your teammate is hide behind these pillars, use your special attacks, and then you want to drop it for your next teammate. So one person will do 2 special attacks, and then you'll drop it for the next person. So in this case here, my friend and I are just sort of trying to coordinate ourselves. So as you can see in my inventory now, I've got the Dawnbringer, and I progress into the final area. So when you're in the final area, you want to set your tile markings up like I have. This will help you significantly. And when you're ready, you just switch to your quick prayers. You want to protect from magic. I have Preserve and Piety on again. And make sure your teammate's ready. So in this case, I start with the special attack, and I say, yes, I would like to begin the battle. So just waiting for my teammate to be ready here. So he's told me he's ready, and then the fight begins. So you can get 3 attacks in here, but a lot of the time I'll just do 2. At the first part here, you do get a little bit of extra time. You'll also notice that I dropped the Dawnbringer to my teammate. So when he moves in, he drops his Sarabrew, so he's got the space, and he'll hit her twice and then move back in. You'll notice as well that the pillar takes damage, so you don't want to be staying out too long. Otherwise you will get hit with that orb. You can actually protect from magic so that it won't hit you as much. It can hit upwards of 40, so do be aware of that. And just coordinate with your teammate when that pillar is going to go down. So if that pillar does go down, it will do 30 damage to you. Possibly even more, I'm not too sure. You'll notice that my teammate decides to run to the other side. That's because this pillar that I'm on is about to die. So I get about 1 hit in here, then I just switch to the other side to join him and drop the brew on the floor. Be mindful as well, so when you do kill her, all these pillars will drop, and you don't want to be in the proximity of them, otherwise you'll get knocked out and it will deal damage the exact same as what would happen if it were to just die from her orbs. So just do 2 attacks and then run back in. So just coordinate what pillars you're going to. So with my friend and I, we go from the top left to the top right and then to this back one here. So you notice I tank a hit there and my friend tanks a 51. And as you can see, he just died to the pillar. So phase 2 starts here. I decided to just die so that I'm not wasting my supplies. If you find that your friend dies before phase 2, I would definitely recommend just dying and keeping all your supplies. Unless you are someone that is already confident on doing this. We're not the greatest at this, so we decided against it. And I decided that I would just keep my supplies for the next run. So I'll actually cut here so that you save a little bit of time, and I'll show you from the second phase. So when the second phase begins, you want to have one person on the east and one person on the west. And so what you'll do here is a V-walk. So you'll hit her, move back 1 space, hit her, move 1 back. So just try and follow the rhythm. So hit, move back. So when you want to hit her is when her cape sort of flies under her bum. And as for those spiders, you want to hit the purple one as quick as you can with a poison weapon. So that's the reason you bring a poison weapon, and that's also helpful to have the Serp helmet. So the Serp helm, if you hit them, will poison it automatically, and that's what will poison her. And you just want to try and keep this rhythm. So you hit her and then move back, and then these red spiders will spawn. Coordinate with your teammate so that either person has killed them, as you can't hit her until they're dead. So if you do that solo, it can be pretty annoying. And the reason you want to stand on either side of each other is she'll do this electric beam. It's like a little ball thing, and it'll bounce between both of you guys, and it'll redirect to her. Okay, so this is phase 3. You'll notice here that she's doing range attacks, so I'm just going to change over to that. And so she does have a few mechanics for this. So I've taken the aggro here. So that means I'm tanking. She'll spawn spiders, and what you want to do is coordinate with your teammate and get those spiders to walk into her. My friend got a little bit unlucky there as I turned Verzik away from him, and the spider actually blew up on him, so make sure you try and coordinate that. So keep versing her, and then you'll notice her run into the middle here. This is where you need to do a web walk. So the strategy for my teammate and I is to just go all the way to the outskirts and go clockwise. You can actually run around her in the square tiles that I've marked, and you're able to hit her and then keep running in a square if you coordinate with your teammate. Unfortunately, we're both not very good at that, so we just skip it. If one of you guys gets hit with one of those webs, they will get stuck, and you've got to free them, otherwise you're tanking about a 40 plus hit of damage. And then from here she'll do a move like that where she opens up her back, and you have to stand on one of these yellow dots, and there's only one for each person. So make sure you're coordinating with your teammate what dot that you're going for. So my friend and I got a little bit unlucky. His was in the northeastern corner and he couldn't make it in time, so he just had to tank the hit. You'll notice she starts doing magic attacks as well. And then you get this green orb, which is basically a tank buster. So I had to tank it for 54. The way to actually remove that is to split the damage between people, so you run over to the other person and then run it to the next person and then the next person, basically. So this next part now is very crucial. So each player will get a vortex that follows them. If that vortex touches you, it'll damage you and it'll heal Verzik. So you want to maintain the distance from that vortex as much as possible. And she'll just continue her previous phases. So she's doing the webs again here. So just run clockwise. This web phase and the one with the yellow dot are pretty crucial. If you get caught in that web, that vortex can still reach you, and the same deal with the yellow dot. If the yellow dot if the vortex reaches you while you're on the yellow dot, you've got to tank the vortex hit. And I definitely recommend taking the vortex hit over the yellow dot. So when you're done, you just want to enter the vault. You can read the book over here. It'll tell you who the MVP was. In this case, it was my teammate. More than likely because I planked in the room with the maze. So from here, you just want to collect your rewards. So in my case, I got a room plate body. I got some potato cactus and a U seed. And that'll give you all the information in your chat log. And from here, if you want to continue with the quest, you just head straight back outside to the stranger. And I'll put on screen all the new items that you need for the second part of the quest. So you just run back out around this way and out to the teleport crystal. Sadly, none of these unique items drop in this story mode, such as the scythe, the justy armor, the rapier, and the Avernic defender. They don't drop, sadly. So you want to just leave the theater and head back over to the stranger. And the next part of the quest starts from here. So for the next part of the quest, you'll need decent food for some of the bosses. So in my case, it's just sharks. A couple of stamina potions, a blisterwood flail, prayer potions, a saw, a ghost speak amulet, teleports. So the Draken's medallion is still recommended, a Luna or Draman staff, and an ectophile. You'll need the Luna or Draman staff to get to the nature spirit. You can also just go from Canifus, but this is a faster method. It's also recommended that you bring good gear to verse a Hespori boss, so that's mage defensive. And for the spiderlings that are later in the video, you'll probably want melee gear. Same for the vampires. You'll also need to bring an axe for when you fight Hespori. So when ready, head just northeast of where the stranger is, and make sure you have your flail for this part. You also need the saw for this part as well. So when ready, just kill one of these vampires, or the Vire Watch. He does some pretty cool animations with the backflip. And they should drop a crypt key for you. So in my case, I just make room for it. And then you want to open this next gate over here. And then you search this coffin and make sure you have the saw in your inventory. And I'm pretty sure Jagex put that line to say that we should get a hobby in there because we're all playing RuneScape. So continue back to the north area. And you just want to return back to the stranger. So just talk to him. And hand him the head. And you'll get greeted with a cutscene about memories. So it sort of fills in the storyline for how the Theatre of Blood came to be. So I'll just leave you with the cutscene. So when the cutscene's finished, you'll have a little bit more dialogue. So just read it, or if you can't be bothered with the quest, just bash the spacebar. So from here, you have to find some spider eggs. I recommend using the ecto file from here. And this is the area where you'll verse the spiderlings coming up. So what you want to do at this point is get some tank armor. In my case, it's just the melee gear that I went in the Theatre of Blood with. So just don't mind my bank, it's a little bit messy at the moment, I'm still sorting it. So I recommend grabbing another stamina potion and a little bit of food if you need it. So from the Ectofunctus, you just want to head south towards sleep. So you just go through this area and just keep following it to the west and still going south as well. And you'll notice there's a little dungeon further down. So close to the hunter area, just over here. So when you get over here, you'll start seeing some spiders, and you'll see this spiderling cave that looks like it's 28 and ready to settle down. So when you're ready, you just want to enter. So from here, head north and then northeast, and you'll see this spider sack over here. So from here, there's a skeleton on the floor just next to the spider sack. So you just want to search that, and you'll get a sticky note. I'm guessing that's another pun that JX had for us. And just more dialogue. It'll say you want to get the eggs, but you're not able to get the eggs out of the spider web there, so you got to go get some acid. So now we've got to head over towards where the nightmare is. So that's over in sleep. So you got to get there as fast as possible. In my case, it's just running from here. Most people will probably not have the teleport. If you do have the teleport, you get it from the nightmare, Fasani's nightmare, and it'll make it a little bit faster for you. Unfortunately, I don't have that yet, so you'll go down into the Sisterhood Sanctuary and sleep. So just run a little bit south. And then you want to go east into sleep. And then you want to go down into this dungeon area. So down these stairs. And then you want to start heading east. So it's up in that northeastern corner that you want to be. So this is where the stamina potions come in handy. So just check your quest log, make sure you're up to this part as well. And you just want to be just over here at that stairwell. So just be careful on this next corner, there is lesser demons. So if you're low on HP, you know, protect from melee. I'd assume if you've done the Theater of Blood part, then you probably can tank a lesser demon. So you just want to go all the way over here. It's actually that staircase inside. My pathing was a little bit bad. So climb up the stairs. And you just want to speak to this guy. And you just want to ask about sulfuric acid so that you can get the spider eggs. So just continue the dialogue. He'll hand you the sulfuric acid. and then you just say see you later, and you just want to go back to that spider den. So in my case, I just use the ecto file and I just run the whole way back. So just enter, and be aware of this next part, because this next part is where the spiders will attack you. So get your protect from melee ready. So you just want to use the acid on the egg sac. That'll burn it, and it'll put the eggs in your inventory. You don't actually have to kill the spiders here. I didn't realize that because the quest guide wasn't out at the time. So you just want to hit the spiders if you feel like it. If not, you can just run. And I do recommend just running away because this is kind of pointless. So as you can see, a lot of them do spawn, so just keep running. And from here you just want to return back to the stranger, so if you've got the medallion, just go back from there. So just run east, talk to him again, and tell him you've found some eggs. He'll say excellent, and you'll be greeted with another cutscene in a minute. So just continue the conversation. And I'll leave you guys with the cutscene. So when the cutscene ends, you'll get another talking session with the stranger. He'll start talking about Hespori. So your next fight is going to be with Hespori. So you'll have to go to the nature spirit as well. So this next part you'll need the ghost speak, and this is where your Luna and or Drama stuff will come in handy. So just continue the dialogue. So once that dialogue's finished, you just want to go to your closest fairy ring, and you want to go straight over towards the nature spirit. The fairy ring code that I used is BIP, and you just want to jump over that stepping stone back there, and then you want to jump over this bridge, enter this little grotto and make sure you have your Ghost Speak amulet or you won't be able to talk to this guy. So just continue the dialogue as you would, and he'll mention that there's a Hespori over to the east. So be careful with this swamp area out here, as you can get rotten food. So you just want to jump back over the bridge, and then you need to head northeast and prepare yourself for a Hespori fight. So if you don't have your magic defensive gear or food, go to a bank now and gear up. So once you've geared up, you just want to head up towards the northeast here. Keep running this way, and you want to go to this little isolated island. So where my cursor is there. So keep running up and around, and then you'll see a stepping stone. So I actually ran past it. This is an instance fight, so just be careful. Once you cross over, you will need to chop the Hespori. So hit that, hit this plant, hit the other one, and then hit the next one. And then you just want to hit it as normal and protect from magic. So just continue the fight as you would. Every time the blooms come up is when you hit them. If not, you just keep hitting Hespori. So I put on Piety for this. You can also bring a combat potion and just eat your food when necessary. Hespori will do a move that entangles you. And when he entangles you, all you have to do is spam click a spot that's about 1 tile away from you. So you'll notice there I got entangled and I'm not able to hit him, so I kept trying, and then I realized just spam click away and you'll be freed. And then when the boss fight is complete, you'll be given a piece of Hespori's bark. So just chop it, and then you get the Hespori bark. And then you just need to return back to the Theater of Blood. Just a side note as well, I do have a Hespori guide, so if you're interested in the normal Hespori, please check that out. And you just return to the stranger here and continue the dialogue. And you'll be greeted with another cutscene, so I'll leave you with that one. So once that cutscene has ended, you'll get more dialogue with the stranger. You just want to continue through that. And at the very end, it'll ask you if you want to do the Theatre of Blood. If you've followed my quest guide and you've done the theatre already, you can skip it. So it does make it a bit easier for you. So just continue the story. So you'll see here that you get to choose. I say that I want to skip it, as I've already done it earlier in the video. And from here, you just continue the dialogue. And you're greeted with a final cutscene. So from that cutscene, it looks like we'll probably be getting more quests that are spider related rather than vampire. And to continue the quest, just keep talking to the stranger. And just continue mashing the spacebar as per normal. And you get a final cutscene. So once that's done, the quest is complete and you're rewarded with an antique lamp and 2 quest points. Congratulations, quest complete. If you guys wouldn't mind subscribing or even leaving a like for this, that would be very much appreciated, as it did take a while to make. Until next time, thank you.